It's so interesting to me how closely this idea of niceness is to this idea of what like a good, kind person is.
Totally. Yeah.
Right?
The opposite word that comes up always is kind. It's like they're not
Kind.
nice, they're kind.
They're kind.
Yeah.
They're good. So in this like little short elaboration that we're doing, I do want to kind of really make a distinction between, right?
Okay.
Kind or nice people, they do stuff for you, and their doing is always tied to a certain set of expectations. And that set of expectations starts as attention, right? They will do all the things that they think that you want them to so that you pay attention to them.
Yeah.
And immediately, and I'm sure you automatically like feel it whenever you're interacting with these type of people when you used to, their attention or the attention that they want is so draining.
Yeah.
Right? Like it drains the life out of you.
Totally.
Because the attention that is like you need that attention to feel significant.
Yeah.
And if you don't have it, then you're literally nothing.
Right.
Which
right.
is probably why they reverse it and blow up so much because
Yeah.
you're attacking their existence when you're not interested in them.
Right. That's
Versus
how they
just
take it.
like, oh, like she doesn't want my attention. Why isn't your life already in a way like if you have all these
Intrinsically
connections, all this
worthy.
stuff, why don't you have if you have like this life, why is her attention so important?
Right.
You could have done all this
Right.
stuff for you, like, okay, then go do that
Go
stuff.
do that for someone that wants it.
Go do that stuff.
Damn.
Why are you so bad? It's like,
Right.
it should just be like an okay.
Right.
And moving on. But
Right.
they don't see it that way. Whereas a kind person, their attention, for lack of a better word, is a little more self-serving.
Okay.
Right?
Explain.
At the beginning, right? Because you don't know people
Yeah,
at the
this is
start.
true.
So you're paying attention because you think that they're a great person. You think that they're
Yeah.
beautiful. You are interested in getting to know them. You are
Yeah.
like curious about this person, right? That's what I mean about self-serving, not like
Gotcha.
yeah, I'm trying to get what I can get at you. Yeah, hell yeah.
Right.
It's not like that.
Totally.
Nice guys are more
Yeah.
aligned like that, but it's more like I feel this, and I'm curious about whether or not this connection can be explored more, it can be developed in a way that makes sense, right? And if you don't want that, they take that attention, they give it to someone who does, which is why it's not such a aggressive ass affront to their existence,
Right,
Because
right.
they're doing it for themselves first and not trying to validate some part of themselves for whatever reason.
Totally. Totally. My word association that I have nice is disingenuous. So I feel like that like perfectly aligns, and I'm not really sure why. Probably because of the nice guy.
Right.
Because
All the media you consume about it.
I grew up in this era. I feel like the word has always like been around.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
I was in the early 2000s.
Right,
Like,
like-
nice guys finished last. All that
yeah,
shit.
I
We
think
heard
this has
that.
always been a thing. So, yeah, the word association I have with it is it's disingenuous versus more genuine. Like kind is like a more genuine person. It's coming from the heart.
Kind people also have really, really good and healthy boundaries.
Yeah.
Whereas you will find that nice people don't have any
Yes.
boundaries.
Totally.
So
Totally.
you can kind of get them to do whatever you want them to do. And a lot of nice people feel like they're getting taken advantage of. But
But they're trying to like appease people. So
yeah,
like the
they're
people pleaser.
pleasers. They're
Yeah.
people pleasers, and people take advantage of people that are trying to give them everything.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that would. If a person, like we were saying in those previous episodes,
Yeah.
it's not another person's responsibility to mediate your behavior for you. So if you're over here giving a person all this attention, all this stuff without any limitations on what you are willing to give them,
Right.
you can't be mad at them after the fact for taking what you're giving them without any restraint.
Right.
Right?
100%.
Whereas kind people, they don't have a lot of friends. They don't have a lot of things because they're not people pleasers. Again, in a more self-serving sense.
Right,
They
right.
will only interact with you as much as you align with their values, one. And two, you don't disrespect their parameters.
Totally.
Their boundaries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they'll communicate all these things they'll communicate all these things to you in the sense where if you like say something that's out of pocket, maybe you're trying to be funny, it didn't land as well. Like the nice guy would be like, "Oh yes, of course, haha, that's so funny," but build up resentment as a fact.
Yeah.
The kind person is like, I didn't necessarily appreciate that, and they'll explain why, whatever. Go from there. You'll probably never have an interaction like that ever again.
Sure.
Easy. Healthy boundaries is such an interesting thing, such a necessary thing. Actually.
Right. It really sets you up to be a much, I don't want to say better person, but
also
a better person.
but also better.
And a better person to interact with. You know, you would think that other people would appreciate someone who doesn't like have boundaries, which a not good person would enjoy someone who doesn't have boundaries.
Right.
But
if you're trying to control people.
Yeah, then you're like, perfect.
Yeah.
No, they don't set boundaries. Lovely.
Easy. So easy mark.
But
people.
everyday people, the old Joe, Joe Schmo.
The average Joe.
Yeah. A person with boundaries is much better to interact with on a day-to-day basis.
Because they feel like a human being.
Yeah, exactly.
And most humans want to interact with other mature, I hate using that word, but like mature and just normal. I also hate that word.
Yeah.
People,
we just like normal people.
People that aren't going to stress us out that much. They're also very fair in their behavior. Kind people are very fair. Firm but fair is the term that I used when I was researching this.
Yeah.
They, in the same sense of boundaries, right? They will prioritize their life and what they have to do, but they'll also like make space for you as long as it doesn't infringe too much on what they're doing. And of course it changes based on how significant you are to them.
I was going to say,
but there's a healthy progression in that. Right. Like if they have a wife, they're not going to prioritize some coworker that they met.
Right.
Like that's not going to happen with kind people.
Yeah.
And if you get mad at it, they don't care.
Yeah.
It's like, okay,
right.
well, like I have a life and I have my priorities. And if you can't respect that, then that's kind of on you.
Right.
Ma'am.
Like I literally don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, it is what it is. Whereas nice people, they never speak their minds. And they just hold anger in their hearts. Poor kids.
Oh.
They're just pissed off all the time.
Really angry.
And like if you do something that doesn't align with them, they're just like, oh, okay. Just upset.
Yeah. It's like, well, I always do this for them. And like, don't they see all the stuff that I do for them? And like,
they complain to other people about it.
Or to themselves.
And
it's festering.
The behaviors can sometimes overlap, like we were saying before.
Yeah.
Because like kind people do what nice people, or nice people do what kind people do.
Yeah.
All the
totally.
time.
If anything, the nice people are looking at those genuinely kind human beings and being like, well, trying to mimic that behavior, thinking that they can get the same result that those kind people are getting.
But it's coming from a different place.
Exactly. It's like the evil step twin.
Yeah. Yeah. That takes me to a place that you won't understand because it's anime. But
okay. I mean, if you want it for the people might understand.
Maybe. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. There's a guy. His name is Dio, and to the parents, he's like the perfect son. Right, their son Jonathan, Joestar, he's like rough around the edges, kind of spoiled, not very refined. Dio comes, he's a poor man's son, and he is like super proper, super prim, super like refined, all this stuff. But the first thing he does as soon as he touched down to the mansion that these people are in, he kicks that motherfucker's dog, kicks him straight in the head. Boom.
Damn.
It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my entire life. It's so...
Just the way that it was animated.
Yeah, just like, it's just so random and unnecessary. Like, why you just kick this dog? And he's just a menace to these people for no reason. Just for no reason. But on the surface, he seems like the coolest, most amazing person ever.
Got you.
But underneath...
There's a dark undertone there happening.
Yeah, and it expands on that. He's like harassing this family for generations.
Damn.
Yeah.
What the heck?
It's hilarious.
What does he have against his family?
Literally not. He has nothing. He has no reason to behave this way. They took him in and treat him so well. He's just mad.
Damn. Just angry.
Angry and pissed off for no reason.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, that's where evil step really comes in. I'm like, okay, deal. Yes. The people that know will know.
Yes.
What was I saying? I forgot before you said evil steps.
Oh, I was saying how they try and mimic the behavior of a kind person. And we were saying that there's dark undertones. And that's why I was like, they're an evil stepsister.
Yeah, the mimicry. Yeah. The mimicry. Because it's coming from a place that isn't as nice or kind as the other people. And it really, at the end of the day, becomes like very manipulative.
Oh, 100%. These are incredibly manipulative people.
Yeah, because you're trying to do something to get something.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Which is why when it doesn't work, you get really, really, really mad. And there's this idea that I was looking at. And, actually, now that I think about it, I did research why they sometimes get this violent. The psychological term is called compulsory masculinity. So it's
Go into it.
This idea. There was a research experiment that was testing male grip strength. And they had to get this machine and they had to squeeze it as hard as possible.
Okay.
And no matter how they performed, there was people that were scored well and people that were scored like below, right?
Okay.
And the people that were scoring below average for all the other tests that they did, they had them do like other things and like questionnaires and stuff like that. They answered more aggressively, and in the interaction with everyone else when they were socializing, they were like puffing out their chest and being like more stereotypically masculine and angry to overcompensate for the fact that
they had weak,
or they had a perceived weak grip strength. Like it didn't matter. They could be like the buffest people ever, but they were told that they had weak grip strength, so they have to overcompensate in some way. And maybe that's where that anger comes from. Because the rejection ends up being this idea that they aren't measuring up or not good enough in some way, right?
Yeah. No, I definitely think that there has to be some sort of like biological like testosterone level like type shit going on in these men's bodies. No, hormones.
Yeah,
it really affects things that can be perceived as like, oh, this is just the person's temperament, but like, you know, their hormone levels could like really be impacting like the way that they're like behaving, their emotions, the way that they're perceiving things, et cetera, et cetera. So I do wonder whether that has something to do with it.
It has to.
Yeah.
It has to.
100%.
But in that,